Hi guys, welcome to our book club. Today will be the first session for our beginners level. This time we are reading Sideways stories from Wayside School. The author is Sachar. He's an American author, and the book is illustrated by Adam McCauley. Today, since it is our first video, this will cover from chapter number 1 to chapter number 6. So let's just start. Hi guys! So as I was telling you in the introduction, today we will start a new book, and this is the cover of the book. I am already sharing my screen, and here you have it. It is very colorful, and well, it is like giving us some details about what is happening in the stories. And here you have, for example, the Sideways building. Sideways. So it is crooked. And well, later on we will know that the stories we will know about are from the last floor, like the 30th. Also here you have one of the first characters that we will know about. So pay attention into details, guys, because that is what will help you later on with descriptions. So here we have the name of the author, Sachar. He's an American author. He's from the United States. He has written a lot of books for kids. And these Sideways stories from Wayside School, it's a series of books. So here is just the first one. The book is illustrated by Adam McCauley. And well, later on we have here the first page where is also the name of the book, the name of the author, and the illustrator. Here we have, like the name of the publishing house, a dedication. We have our content, like the chapters, everything, and then we have a very, very, very short introduction. So here it says that this book contains 30 stories about the children and teachers at Wayside School. So, all stories will be about school. So then we have that it says, well, the building wasn't built sideways on purpose. It was just an accident. And it says that it should be just 1 story high. So you will say 1 story like a tale? No. Remember that also story, it will be a floor. So they will play with floor and story very often, so you have to pay attention on that. So it's supposedly that in the past, the building needed to be just 1 floor, but by accident, they just built 30. So the bill started going sideways. So also it is explaining you in the introduction that the stories will be from the last floor. And well, let's just start. So as I told you guys, here in the first chapter we have this character who was in the cover too, and her name is Mrs. Gorf. He's a teacher, he's a bad teacher, and here we have Mrs. Gorf has long tongue and pointed ears. So long tongue, pointed ears. And she was mean. She worked, like she taught the class on the 30th story. Taught the past of teach, and she was working on the last level. So it says here that she was very mean. She didn't like kids. So every time a kid was not even, making noises, just, like because she wanted, she was wiggling her ears and then transformed the students into apples. So here we have an example. Mrs. Gorf wiggled her ears, first the right one, then the left, stuck out her tongue, and turned Todd into an apple. So, wiggle, mover, tambalear, but in this case it would be, like mover. And then it says, first the right one, then the left, stuck out. Remember that the story is written in past, so you will have a lot of verbs in past, including this one. Stuck out, stick out. So, sacar, sacar que her tongue, and turn Todd into an apple. So here we have all the clashes turning, like students into apples, and then there is students start disappearing. So nobody knows where they are. Parents are worried, and then a teacher, the gymnastic, the sport teacher, he is, like in the last floor, just asking for his students, and he saw that the desk, the Miss Gorf's desk, it has a lot of apples on top. So he's like, oh, she's a nice teacher. Everybody loves her. So nothing happens. But students continue disappearing. Any reason, like here we have because someone sneezed, because they express their opinion. I don't remember what else happened. And then, like when they were a lot of apples, it says here. Well, the next day, a dozen more children were turned into apples. Louis, the art teacher, came back into the room. He saw 24 apples on Mrs. Gorf's desk. There were only 3 children left in the class. She must be the best teacher in the world, he thought. By the end of the week, all the children were apple. Mrs. Gorf was very happy. Now I can go home. She said, I don't have to teach anymore. I won't have to walk up 30 flights of stairs if ever again. Oh yeah, flights. Flights, like the airplane, the flights, yes. But in this context, flights will be tramos. So 30 flights of stairs, 30 tramos de escaleras. One flight, second flight, third flight, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc. So, because remember that she's working in the last floor. So she is very happy, and then suddenly it says, you are not going anywhere, Shadow thought. He jumped off the desk and bumped Mrs. Gorf on the nose. So the apples are not apples, they are students transformed into apples. So they can talk, or they can, do things, because in this case, the apple is jumping, and it hit Mrs. Gorf's nose. So everybody followed it. So everybody's jumping, and hitting the teacher. And the teacher is like, stop! I will transform you into applesauce. And, when you will see here. But the apples didn't stop, and Mrs. Gorf could do nothing about it. Turn us back into children. Mrs. Gorf had no choice. She stuck out her tongue, wiggled her ears. This time her left one first, then her right, and turned the apples back into children. So when everybody is children again, they say like, next, what do we do? And one student says like, oh, I will go for the teacher. He will know what to do. And Mrs. Gorf is like, no, you are not going anywhere. And when she is about to transform that girl into an apple, there is someone else, it says, but Jenny held up a mirror and Mrs. Gorf turned herself into an apple. So, as an action movie. When she was about to transform it, and another girl has a mirror, and I don't know, the beam, the ray, went back to Mrs. Gorf. So, well, she is now an apple, and then it's like, then what? This was unexpected. And then it says that, well, Louis, the art teacher, walked in, and then he says like, oh, where's Mrs. Gorf? Nobody said a word. Nobody said like, oh, she's an apple. And then he says like, well, man, I'm hungry. And she grabbed, the apple from the desk. It says like, he shined it out, shine up, sorry, and she ate it. And that was the end. So this story was very interesting, very, very nice. Everybody has their, karma. But well, anyways, that is the end. So Mrs. Gorf was transformed into an apple, and then Louis, another teacher, ate it. So here in the second chapter, we have, another character. She is Mrs. Jewels, and she is the replacement of, Mrs. Gorf. So far here, the children never said anything. No, what happened with Mrs. Gorf, nobody knew. And then they are scared because it's like they will have a new teacher and they don't know if they will be good or bad, and they are not really good with teachers. And then the teacher, the new teacher, Miss Jewels, it is also nervous because she says like, it says, I am not really good with cute, students. If they are cute, I cannot work with them. So when she arrives to the 30th floor, to the last floor, she's like, "Oh, they are very cute." It says here. Mrs. Jewell looked at the children. They were horribly cute. In fact, they were too cute to be children. I don't believe it. It's a room full of monkeys. And everybody's like, monkeys? We're not monkeys. And says like, oh, but I am not here to take care of monkeys. I'm not a zookeeper. And everybody's like, she's crazy. Like, come on, we are not monkeys. So they start, this conversation like, hey, teacher, but we are not monkeys. Oh, but monkeys don't talk. Oh, but this. But you are very this, but you're very that, but not monkeys. So they start all this conversation with monkeys, not monkeys. And then there is a point when the students start telling her, I don't know if that is a monkey, but my name is, and I am not a monkey. So little by little, the teacher starts realizing that they are not monkeys. It says, I don't know, said Miss Jewels. Do monkeys know that they are monkeys? I don't know, said Allison. I'm not a monkey. No, I suppose you are not, says Miss Jewels. Okay, in that case, we have a lot of work to do. Reading, writing, subtraction, addition, spelling. Everybody take out a piece of paper. We will have a test now. So, like after the conversation that you are monkeys, we are not monkeys, then teacher says like, oh, so you are not monkeys. Okay, let's work. That's funny. And then we have here, Jason tapped Todd on the shoulder. He said, do you want to know something? I like it better when she thought we were monkeys. So tap it would be this. And he's tapping the other guy on the shoulder like, hey, you know what? I like the other teacher when we thought, we were monkeys. And then it says that teacher heard that conversation and she wrote Toad's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. So probably this new teacher, Miss Jewell, she is very strict. Maybe not the same as Mrs. Garp, but let's see what is coming. So here we have another chapter. We have now Joe. And the teacher continues being Mrs. Jewell's, the same classroom, but, with one of the students. And what happened with this student? Well, it says that Joe had curly hair, but he didn't know how much hair he had. Because, he didn't know how to count. In fact, he couldn't count at all. He didn't know how to count. So there is a time, here, when the teacher realized he didn't know how to count, and they are just about to go to break. So teacher says like, hey, Joe, come here. And Joe is like, come on, I wanted to play, but okay, I'm here. So teacher is trying, like to tell Joe, hey, let's just count. How many hairs do you have? And Joe says like, I don't know, a lot? Like, no, count them. Oh no, I don't think it's possible. Okay, let's just start with something easier. How much is this plus this? And Joe, he has a very interesting method because he is like 1, 8, 9, 7, 18, 2. The answer is 2. And teacher is like, what? I mean, the answer is correct, but the process is not. So she is trying to explain the order of the numbers, and when Joe finally got it, he cannot count. I mean, he knows the numbers. He knows the numbers in order, but he doesn't know at the end the result. The answer is wrong. So Joe is asking the teacher like, hey, but does it matter? I mean, even if I don't know how to count in order, I get the right answer. So the process, does it really matter? And teacher is like, come on, you are not asking me that, right? You need to learn how to count. So here, it is the ending of the break. Everybody comes to the room again, and someone is asking Joe like, hey, what happened with you? And says like, well, I'm here trying to count. And says like, but you cannot count, you're dumb. So there is this character, like Marisha. He's stupid. So teacher heard that, and it says, She wrote Mauritius' name on the blackboard under the word discipline. And well, in this last part, Miss Jewel says to Joe, like, hey Joe, don't worry. Everybody has their own process. You will see that one day you will just wake up and you will know how to count. And Joe says, like, if the only thing I need is to wake up, what I'm here at school. And the teacher says, like, well, because you will just accelerate the process because you are speeding everything up. And well, it says here, without school, it may take another 70 years before you wake up and are able to count. So by that time, I may have no hair left on top of my head, said Joe. So it's like, exactly, that's why you are here. And this story ends very cutely because it says, when Joe woke up the next day, he knew how to count. He had 55,006 hair on his head. They were all curly. So, like that day arrived very soon and he knew how to count. Not just, easy numbers, but big numbers. So that was very cute. And that is the ending of story number 3. So let's just start with number 4. So here we have another character. She is Shari. And well, it says that let's just read the introduction together. So it says, Shari had long eyelashes. She weighed only 49 pounds. She always wore a big red and blue overcoat with a hood. The overcoat weighed 35 pounds. The red part weighed 15 pounds. The blue part weighed 15 pounds and the hood weighed 5 pounds. Her light lashes weighed 1.5 pounds. So, well, it is describing, like how much she weighs. She is always using this blue overcoat and this is the hood, That's why sometimes, we call them the hoodies, las sudaderas, with this special, like gorrito. So this is a hood. And, well, later on we know that she is always sleeping. She's always sleeping. So here, like, Miss Jewels, because everybody's like, hey, Miss, like, Sherry is sleeping. And Miss Jewels says, like, it's okay, some people learn when they are sleeping. And then it's like, hey, teacher, but now she's snoring. Snoring, roncar. Sherry began to snore. And the teacher says, like, come on, don't worry. Don't wake her up because, like some people learn when they are snoring. And everybody's like, okay. And then it says here, in this part, that suddenly she was, like moving a lot. And because of something, she just, like jumped over a bench and she started rolling. So the window was open. And she rolled out of the window. So she is, like falling, and from the 30th floor. So she's falling all the way. And then it says here, well, it says, let's just read this last part. It says, yes, I can hear her, said Miss Jewel. She must be learning an awful lot today. I wish the rest of you could be like her. Sherry began to toss and turn, like moverse, jalarse. She flopped over on top her desk and then rolled over on top of Katie's desk. Katie's desk. Then she rolled back to the other way. Katie screamed. Sherry rolled out of the window. She was still sound asleep. So she's just, like falling. And as you know, Miss Jewel's class was on the 30th story of Wayside School. So Sherry had a long way to go. After she had fallen 10 stories, Sherry woke up. She looked around. She was confused. She wasn't in Miss Jewel's class. She wasn't at home in bed. She couldn't figure out. She yawned. She yawned, pulled out the hood back over her eyes, and went back to sleep. So it's like, I don't know where I am, but I will sleep. Wayside School had an exceptionally large playground. Louis, the yard teacher, was way over on the other side of it when it happened to see Sherry fall out of the window. He dug under the volleyball net, hurtled past the kickball field, hopped over the hopscotch court, climbed through the monkey bars, sped across the grass, and caught Sherry just before she hit the ground. So, like he was here, he needed to do a lot of things in order to arrive here while Sherry was just falling. So he arrived on time, he catch it, and well, when he catch it, it was like, yes, he did it. And then, like the movement woke up Sherry. And she's like, what are you, like, what I'm here? What did you catch me? Like, no, I don't want to be here. Like, take me to my place. So the teacher with like Sherry on his arms, he goes, he put it in her place, and she's sleeping all day, like all day at school she's sleeping. But then we have a very funny ending because it says, I'm sorry, Sherry repeated. Is that all can you say? I was having a wonderful dream until you woke me up. You are always bothering me, Louis. I can't stand it. She laughed and hugged him around the neck. Louis carried her back 30 flights of stairs to Miss Jewel's room. That evening, when Sherry went to bed, she was unable to fall asleep. She wasn't tired. So that's it. It's not like she was learning. So she was just, like messing up with her sleeping cycle. When you just take a very long nap, at night you cannot sleep right away. So she's experiencing the same. So that's it for chapter number 4, and I am just eager to know what is like the funniest story for you until now. And well, let's just start with chapter number 5. So here we have Todd. Remember that Todd has been appearing on previous chapters, and well, it says that here it says, of all children in Miss Jewel's class, except Todd, we were talking and carry on. Todd was thinking. Todd always thought before he spoke. When he got an idea, his eyes light up. Todd finished thinking and began to speak. But before he said 2 words, Miss Jewel called him. Todd, she said, you know better than to talk in class. You must learn to work quietly, like the other children. She wrote his name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Todd looked around in amazement. All of the other children who had been talking and screaming and fighting only seconds earlier were quietly working in their workbooks. Todd scratched his head. And well, this is Todd. He is very slow at thinking, or maybe he's thinking in a lot of stuff. But when he is ready to express his idea, it's too late. Everybody changed, like their activities or maybe the conversation. So in this case, everybody's talking. He has his idea, he's thinking, and when he said it, Miss Jewel realized that he was speaking aloud and said like, hey, what happened? Shut up. Everybody's working. And he says like, oh, yes, everybody's working. So, well, he says, oh, and then he started worrying because remember that Miss Jewel has this method. If you bad behave, she wrote your name on the blackboard under the name discipline. And it says that next fall she was, like crossing, or she was checking your name. And in the third one, she was crossing your name and you needed to go to your house. So he didn't want to go to his house because he says like, I want to know what is happening at the end of the class. Even if I have some mistakes and I talk and I speak and I fight, I want to see what is happening at the end of the day. So today I will try not to do and not to say anything. And well, so it says here that is the goal of Todd. That is Todd's goal, sorry. And then there's a partner, there's a classmate. Her name is Joy. So Joy is trying to bother, is being very annoying with Todd. He is like, I will be quiet, I need to answer my exercises. And she's like, hey, what page are you? And he's like, oh, shut up, I'm in page number 1. 1? I'm in page number 5. And he's like, so what? And like he's working. And then again, like, hey, what page are you on? And it's like, well, I'm in page number 2. 2? I'm page number 15. So she is being very annoying. And there's a time when she says like, let's just read. 5 minutes later, Joy pulled Todd's hair and didn't let go until he turned around. What page are you on? She demanded. Page 6. Todd answered as quietly as he could. I'm on page 200, Joe shouted. Todd was very angry. Will you please let me do my work and stop bothering me? McDougalls heard him. Todd, what did I say about talking in class? Todd scratched his head. McDougal put a check next to Todd's name on the blackboard under the word discipline. Todd really tried to be good. And then, well, like the same thing, but it says here, well, Todd was really bad. He just always got caught. He really wanted to stay past 12 o'clock. He wanted to find out what the class did from 12 to 2. But it didn't look as thought this was going to be but it didn't look as thought this was going to be his day. It was only 10:30 and he already had 2 strikes against him. He sealed his lips and went back to work. There was a knock on the door. McDougalls opened it. 2 men stepped in wearing masks and holding guns. Give us all your money, they demanded. All I have is a nickel, said McDougalls. I have a dime, said Marisha. I have 13 cents, said Leslie. I have 4 cents, said Demon. What kind of bank is this? Asked one of the rovers. It's not a bank. It's a school, said Todd. Can you read? No, said the rovers. Neither can I, said Todd. And, come on. It says, do you mean we walk all the way up 30 flights of stairs for nothing? Do you have any valuable? Todd's eye light up. Sure, we do. We have knowledge. He grabbed Joy's workbook and gave it to the rovers. Knowledge is much more valuable than money. Thanks, kid, said one of the rovers. Maybe I will give up being a criminal and become a scientist, said the other, like the rover. They left the room without hurting anybody. Now I don't have a workbook, complained Joy. McDougalls gave her a new one. Joy had to start all the way back at the beginning. And then, like revenge, karma, as we said, like from the first chapter. Hey, Joe, what page are you on? Asked Todd. Page 1. I'm on page 8, laughed Todd triumphantly. McDougal heard him. He circled his name. Todd had 3 strikes against him. At 12, he left the room to go home early on the kindergarten bus. But this time, when he left, he was like a star baseball player leaving the field. All the children stood up, clapped their hands, and whistled. Todd scratched his head. Yeah, because, like Joy seems to be a bully. So, well, revenge. So it says that he didn't complete his goal. He didn't reach his goal to stay at the end of the day. But it was worth it because, he could get revenge. And, well, it says that everybody was clapping, everybody was whistling. And, well, Todd again, like, I don't understand. And that's it for chapter number 5. So let's just start with the lab chapter. And here we have the story of Bebe. I think it won't be Bebe because it doesn't have an accent, just Bebe. And she's an artist. Here we have. Bebe was a girl with short brown hair, a little baby nose, totally tiny toes, and big brown eyes. So here we have the description of the girl, and then we have this bibi. So bibi means just, like un abejorro. Bibi knows, probably because it's big. Her full name was Bibi Gone. She was the fastest draw in Miss Jewel's class. She could draw a cat in less than 45 seconds, a dog in less than 30, and a flower in less than 8 seconds. But of course, Bebe never just drew one dog or one cat or one flower. Ours was from 12:30 to 1:30. Why in that time she could draw 50 cats, 100 flowers, 20 dogs, and several eggs or watermelons. It took her the same amount of time to draw a watermelon as an egg. So she's an expert, she's an artist, and she can draw so fast that it doesn't matter what kind of drawing. She is, so fast that can do it at the same time. So here we have Calvin sat next to Bebe. But he is not good at art. He is not good at art. He just like, oh, I want to be like her. So they have a deal. The deal is that, Calvin is giving the paper to Bebe. So Bebe is drawing and, throw it away. Again, Calvin is giving her a paper. She's like this. So his job is just giving Calvin's job is just giving Bebe paper. Putting, drawing, again, changing. That is his job. And in exchange of doing that, she will just draw, a couple of airplanes for him. So when they are just on fire, oh, she can draw so fast, 500, 400, even more. Anyways, Mrs. Jewels arrives and says what are you doing? And Calvin says well, I'm helping Bebe, because she's an artist, she's very fast. She can draw so many things. And okay, but what about you? I cannot draw. That's why I'm helping her. And then Miss Jewels, the same, in previous chapter, she has a lesson to teach, it says. Let's just read it from here. I would have taken me the whole period just to draw one picture, said Kelvin. And Bebe would only have able to draw 100 pictures. But with the two of us working together, she was able to draw 378 pictures. That's a lot more art. Bebe and Caitlin shook hands. Yes, So, no, said Miss Jewel, that isn't how you measure art. It isn't how many pictures you have, but how good the pictures are. Why a person could spend his whole life just drawing one picture of a cat. In that time, I'm sure Bebe could draw 1,000,000 cats. 2,000,000, said Bebe. Yes, Miss Jewel continued, but if that one picture is better than each of Bebe's 2 millions, then that person has produced more art, than Bebe. Bebe looked as if she was going to cry. She picked up the pictures from Calvin's desk and threw them in the garbage. Then she ran from the room. I thought her pictures were good, said Calvin. He reached into the garbage pail, took out a crumpled up picture of an airplane. So here we have that Jewel is telling them hey, but it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So there are people who take their whole life just to draw, just to paint one picture, but that doesn't mean it's not art, because it's about the process, it's about how good it is. And Bebe felt a little bit sad because she thought that probably her art wasn't enough. So she grabbed all the papers and threw them to the garbage. And then we have Calvin that just, grabbed, it's a scramble because it was, a ball. So he was, unfolded it. And he says oh, but I think Bebe is good. And that is it for this. And then the story finished very, very, very nicely again. So Bebe walked outside into the playground. Louis, the art teacher, spotted her. Where are you going? He asked. I'm going home to draw a picture of a cat, said Bebe. Will you bring it to school and show it to me tomorrow? Louis asked. Tomorrow? Laugh, Bebe. By tomorrow, I doubt if I even be finished with one whisker. No whisker. So, well, probably the lesson that Bebe learned it was that sometimes she needs to take her time. So that is how the story ends, and this is also the ending of our video because that is ending of chapter number 6. Next one it will be chapter number 7. So as you may see here in the spoiler, you see that is about Calvin. So guys, that will be it for this video. I hope your reading is being so much easy and so much funny like it was for me. And I am so eager to just like meet you and start our conversation in our next session on Saturday. So continue having an excellent reading, guys, and I hope to see you soon.